can't believe Steve bought an X Plus. I thought he loved me. You know what? Next time I see him, I'm gonna give him a thing or two. Ah, crap, I'm falling. Quick, somebody help.
Quick, take my strong hand.
What do you mean strong hand? You know what, can you go get somebody a little bit more suited for this?
Sure thing, 1 second.
Faster!
Hurry, you need to save him. He needs help.
You know, I thought you were just joking around, but your dumbass is serious.
For the love of Kamakras, get somebody that can actually help. Just give me a tail or something. Did somebody say they want some tail? You know what? It's not that far to the ground.
Here I just look at super important views. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnes.
And today I'll be going over the Bandai Tamashii Nation SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2016, the second and third form. I forget what their official names are, though. It's Form A and Form B.
So Steve,
I know it's like Kamada-kun and Turkey. Something like that. It slips my mind. I know them as A and B.
So Steve, are you ready for this? According to the Instagram, you're going to be super happy about this figure.
Sweet.
In a bad way.
Oh, but I like being happy in good ways.
Oh, no. According to the people, this thing is supposed to be hideous, wrong, chip painting, all good stuff.
Sweet. Well, that makes me excited to get it out of the packaging. Well, if you guys don't know where this is from the film Shin Godzilla. It came out in 2016, where these are the early stages of the kaiju. We reviewed the actual SH MonsterArts Shin Godzilla, which is the final version of the kaiju. Well, before it got beams. That figure comes out later this year. So anyways, with what I said, a little more hesitant to get these guys out of their prison. But without further ado, further packaging, very black. Like, it is a very dark looking packaging, where you get the Form B, Form A on the front. Some stuff I can't understand. I know that's Godzilla right there, Shin Godzilla. With Tamashii Nation Bandai, 2017 was the release. Top, more of the same. Side, nice shot of the third form. This side, back of the packaging, just shows them in mostly the same poses, but you get to see it with Shin, some stuff I can't understand, and some Lego Mumbo Jumbo. So let's get these guys opened up out of their cardboard prison. Alright, so now that we got Kamada-kun and Shinagawa-kun, I looked it up. Probably said it wrong.
What were those again, Steve?
Hold on, I will look it up on Google again. Shinagawa-kun is what the third form is called. Because I don't want people yelling at me in the comment section, so we're just going to call it that. Call it Shini.
I like your other name better, Steve.
Turkey?
Yes.
It's like, there was something, it was like turkey. I can't remember. Somebody commented on it in a previous video. But I remember he is Kamada-kun. So, because most of these guys are named after like the cities that they like rampage through.
But he didn't rampage through any city. He just like popped up and puked all over the place and died. The little guy.
Well, yeah, so that's what he did. He, on the other hand, was like, I'll stand up. There's a couple of helicopters. I'll see you guys later.
Well, no, that's not true. What, he stood up and tripped over?
Bitches.
He tripped over, fell in a building or something like that?
Oh, no, that's what he did. And then he was like, I'm tripping over these buildings. I guess I better stand. And then he learned to stand. Still has the stubby arms, though. So, sad day for him. But anyways, first I guess we'll go over Kamada-kun here, and then we will go over the more big guy here in Shinagawa-kun. Alright, so for Kamada-kun, head sculpt actually looks really nice. I like how they painted his eyes, which is more of a gray color. Like, it almost looks silver. It's kind of weird. His teeth are painted in a bone coloring, which is really nice to see, especially on this smaller figure. Because with Shin, the big guy, his teeth are a little bit hit and miss for the most part, but this little guy here actually seems to be painted very nicely. Mouth is done in a flesh color tone.
Wait a minute, you telling me they put more effort into him than not in the Shin?
I said nothing. But moving down his neck, where you have his giant gills that you saw the blood flow out of in the film. Really nice looking. A little bit of red splotches in a couple areas, but nothing too crazy. Same with right here at the top section of his breastplate. Dorsal spines, very tiny, very cute. Got the same kind of blood red that you would see on Shin on the back here. Again, a little bit of bleed over here on the top part of the neck, but it's kind of noticeable on the side. It's not horrible, but it could maybe have been a little bit cleaner on the top there. But detailing is pretty nice for especially how small this little guy is. Then for his body, you got his little nubs sticking out on his sides here. That are his undeveloped arms. You got the trademark little front part of his chest plate sticking up and protruding, like almost ripping out of his body. And you can see his rib cages here on the side. Body color tone wise is mainly more of an olive color. On this one, well, like the Bandai vinyl was like a very flesh tone. Well, he is more like camouflage.
I actually like his color.
Then for his little legs, very dinosaur shaped. Got some muscles protruding out of the sides. Got a little bit of scaling right here on the top section.
Looks like holes.
Kinda. It kind of reminds me of those like one plants you see in the memes all the time. Where like people would take them and try to make it look like, you got a skin condition. He has that skin condition. I forget what the plant's called, but it's like those little pods. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You're no help.
Yeah. Figured that out a long time ago.
Again, why are you here? We still have never answered that question. Like, how many videos in? How many?
Guys, can you let him know why I'm here?
Got some bone coloring here for his little nails. Same with on the back section here. Thing is mine has a little bit of paint chips here and there, which is a little bit detracting on this leg. I don't really have any on this side though, so it's just got a little bit of wear over here, but nothing. Again, it's not super noticeable. It's just when you're like intently looking at his leg right there, you notice a couple of things. But for his tail, you have the veins here stretching out to about the halfway point.
I don't remember that being like that predominant in the movie.
He's jacked. And then you have this little fin here, which disappears on Shinagawa-kun. But it's very thin. Again, more fish-like here. Imagine it's mainly used for swimming. But overall, like detail-wise, other than a couple little hiccups in the paint job here and there, looks pretty nice. Like, I'm actually relatively surprised with this little guy.
You're gonna have to figure out how to fix his leg because he keeps twisting around looking creepy as heck, dude.
Yeah, this ball joint here is a little loose, so it likes to kind of spin on its own. But anyways, for his articulation, his head comes like up about that far, down about that far. The jaw is articulated, so that will open and close. Can also pivot a little bit to the sides. His neck can shimmy side to side, but you have the possibility of the head popping off just like it did. And then the neck can go about that far, down about that far, because it's just on a little ball joint.
Be careful not to take it off again.
Yeah, try not to. Then his nubs are articulated, which can kind of do a little chicken wing. Can move a little bit forward and back as well. And for his legs, out about that far, inwards about that far. Can go a little bit forward and back. Nothing too crazy. Can't really rotate there either. But these are on ball joints too. So you get a little bit of play up and down, a little bit of rotation. Same with right here. It's pretty much the motion you can get with it. And then these can also rotate on each of the joints as well. Then for his tail, can go about that far to the sides, that high up, and that far down. And then we have Shinagawa-kun, which is probably the one I was most excited to get out of the set. Granted, Kamada-kun's cute, and his scenes are adorable, but I kind of like the Bandai vinyl more of Kamada-kun. So I was, and between the two Bandai vinyls more than Shinagawa-kun. So I was hoping the MonsterArts ones would be a little bit more flip-flopped. Because, I don't know, he just looks really cool. Although I kind of wish his head maybe moved a little bit more down if he's standing straight up, because those dorsal spines. But anyways, for his head sculpt, looks really awesome, actually. Very impressed with the sculpt here. His eyes look very nice, too. Again, have that same kind of gray, metallic silver appearance. Like the detail that you can see on the top of his head. You have his little nostrils on the front. Mouth section painted pretty nicely. Same with the teeth.
Sticking out? Or is that just, oh, that's the jaw, right?
Yeah, that's like his throat section right here. is what's showing up there. Because he doesn't actually have like a tongue or anything. But his mouth has some flesh tones and this kind of orange color. Kind of like fire orange. For his neck, you have what's starting to show up for Shin Godzilla here, where the gills are retracting into the side of his neck. Dorsal spines are a little bit more elongated and starting to change color. They still have that. It's sort of green, but it's more turning into this like brownish orange hue. Like it's a very ugly color, but he's an ugly kaiju, so
I like
kind of works out.
Steve.
I don't know, like these do look really nice. It's mainly right up here. There's a bit of a gap, which you can hide if you have his neck looking straight up like that.
What the heck is he looking up to?
But when you start trying to articulate it a bit, because I kind of need his head to shift downward, which I don't think it's gonna do. All right, so if you want to look it down, you have a little bit of a gap there.
You know, looking at these two guys, I can see evolution of Godzilla, and he was just in a lot of pain, dude.
Yeah, I don't imagine it was pleasant, especially how fast that evolution happens.
Because, like, look at top of his, like, dorsal spines. Like, look down there. You can just see, like, his skin being ripped apart and everything. Like, it's painful.
Well, this never actually goes away, even in the final form. Like, it's just constantly exposed, which is pretty much, like, his weak spot. Well, was his weak spot until you start shooting beams everywhere out of it. But you see the same fleshy tones on the intersections of the dorsal spines. Looks really nice. It's just, yeah, that color. Odd. Stomach has a crap ton of wrinkles. Got the same little spiky protrusion on the front section of his chest plate. His arms are starting to develop here. Got some bone coloring for the nails, which is really awesome to see. That little attention to detail on the section there. Because, again, was kind of worried with Shin that they may, like, skip out in these little sections here. But it is nice to see that that's actually painted, like, even on the bottom of his feet, too. Painted very nicely, like the skin tones there, too. And you get that little bone protrusion at the top section of his thigh. Looks really good. But, alright, so moving to the tail. You'll notice right here that the tail has this orange hue that comes down to the tip of the tail where it's starting to form the little mouth thing there. Which right there you can actually kind of tell at the face. More so than the the fourth form. Yeah, well, the second form, yeah, it's just a fin. But for the tail, I kind of wish that if they were going to be doing this orange hue, that they maybe would have had it kind of bleed into the body a little bit more. I think that would have looked a little bit better, because it's odd seeing it just stop.
What, you don't like that, Steve? I thought it looks nice, because you can tell it was made on factory line, you know, like Ford assembly, where like different parts are made by different people, you know?
Oh, so like this section was done by someone else, and this one...
Yeah, somebody else, and
somebody didn't care quite as much. I don't even know how they actually assemble these in a factory, to be honest, because I know like each of these parts are made individually, so it could be.
Or somebody just could have had a bad day, Steve. You don't know, man. You can't be mad at them, right?
Well, the one thing that I could say about the tail in general, like the paint job is meh, but like if it would have bled over, would have been fine. The thing I don't really like though is you can see here a lot of nice details with the wrinkling going very nicely into the mold. Same right here for the first section of the tail. But once you start going down the tail, the detail just kind of fades.
Alright, never mind. They weren't having a bad day. They were just lazy.
And then right at the tip, you start getting more of that detail again. And it's just kind of odd to see. Because like so much detail is put into the upper body here. And then once you get to the tail, it just starts to fade. And then, because it's kind of like shifts, because even right here, it starts to fade into the detail. So maybe that just has something to do with the computer mold. Maybe. But I kind of wish they maybe would have took some liberties and maybe added a little bit more detail. Just so you can keep up with the quality they have up here on the top section of the body to match the tail. It's standing on your shelf. It's not going to really show up that well, but yeah, that's easily the biggest negative of this guy right now. But outside of that, I haven't really noticed any imperfections in his paint job other than just choice of paint, how they painted it. Other than he has like a little bit of white specks right here.
Yeah, I was about to say, any like actual paint damage on him, or just those white little things?
Yeah, it's just this little white specks here. I'm not exactly sure where they came from. But outside of that, like, paint job on the face looks good. Dorsal spines seem to be fine. I don't really notice any bleeding. It's mainly just the tail section here, which it's not, one thing I want to point out too, it's not just on mine in general. I have seen other people that have acquired this figure actually have the same kind of orange issue here where it just stops at the body. So it's not like Shin where you have like certain people might have better figures. If you buy this figure, it's going to be exactly the same.
You mean just like the choice they made when they painted it?
Yeah, it's just design choice there. And then for his articulation, head can look up about that far, found the ball joint. His head can look up about that far, down about that far. Mouth can articulate on the top and bottom, but it opens up about that far. Closes fully. For his arms, got a little bit of a rotation there and a bit of a wiggle, so you got a decent amount of play to it. Goes up about that far, down about there. Feels safe. His body can stiffen up about that far, bends down about that, so you do get the crazy shin bend like you see on the big guy. Has a little bit of a wiggle to it and rotation as well. For his legs, can go out about that far, inwards about that far. Oh, actually, there's a little bit of paint right there. Oh, I got the leg out. See a little bit of the orange there. Okay, go forward about that far, maybe a little bit more. Backwards, about that far.
God, every time you move that, I'm just so afraid you're gonna chip that paint.
And then, yeah, that's the only thing I kind of get concerned too is rubbing. But it's an articulated figure, like, it's a concern. His knees can bend about that much. Got a rotation.
You can kick a soccer ball.
You can. And his feet can bend about that far. Nice pivot. And wiggle to it. Then for his tail, can go about that far to the sides. Up about that far. And down about that far. And for some quick comparison, here we have Kamata-kun and Shinagawa-kun compared next to some other SH Monsters figures with Godzilla Jr., who I feel like is pretty much the same in terms of quality and like articulation, and Shin Godzilla. And here they are with some NECA action figures, or I should say X Plus like the last one.
Yeah.
With Otachi. Well, anyways, that was a little inside joke. But here we have the NECA Shin Godzilla and the Reactor Gold Godzilla that was the Loot Crate exclusive. And here they are next to their Bandai vinyl counterparts.
God, I think the Bandai vinyl looks actually better. The smaller one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I still really like this one, actually. He, on the other hand...
It's just...
You're winning.
Talk about a different color, though. Look at that. Complain about that, people.
For sure. It's not even close to being the same, but then again, they aren't either. And here they are, compared next to the greatest kaiju of them all.
Well, at least we know where they got the inspiration for the likeness, you know? The ugliness part, at least.
Yep. With the X Plus Gabara and the YMSF Gabara. So overall, with the SH Monster second and third form Shin Godzilla, I actually like these figures. For the price tag that I got them at $80, I think these guys are really nice. The detail on them is solid. The paint job, a little bit hit and miss, but still pretty good for the most part. Articulation's actually really good on these guys, especially for how small they are. So overall, I'm happy at what I got them for. So if you guys can pick them up for about retail, definitely recommend picking up the set, especially if you already have the Shin Godzilla figure. Now, third-party price on the other hand, because I've already seen people trying to get like $150 at least for these guys. That seems crazy. Like, that's really high for these. Like, to me, at that price, it's not worth it.
But no, like Steve said, overall, they're not that bad. And for the price, for retail price, they're definitely worth buying, you know? But if you can't afford a third-party price, there is other choices you can get, like the Bandai Vinyl, which, in my opinion, I like them a little bit more than these guys.
Yeah, they are a little larger. They're cheaper. And they do have an exclusive set coming out where you get Frozen Shin with it. Like, that would maybe be a way to go if you guys are just looking for a version of the creatures in your collection. But if your heart is set on the MonsterArts one, definitely look around for trying to get these guys closer to retail.
Which is what, around $83, something like that?
Yeah, like closer to 80 bucks is where you want to be at. But yeah, if you missed out on them, definitely check out like Ami's pre-owned section. They sometimes get them in on occasion. Facebook groups, there's a few other websites you can... Mandrake is another one that you might be able to find these guys on. So definitely check around for them. And be vigilant.
Stay away from eBay, trust me.
Yeah. You might be able to find somebody that has it like used on there. You might get lucky, but...
Because when this came in, I looked, and there was some that were already trying to get like $220 for it on eBay, which is insane.
Yeah, which is stupid. But they're definitely a nice surprise compared to what we got with Shin Godzilla. But what do you guys think? Have you guys picked up the second and third form Shin Godzilla figures? What's your favorite Shin Godzilla action figure? Or is 1962 just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. Look closer pic to these guys on our website if you want to click the link in the description below. We also have a Patreon account if you guys like us help support the channel, also down there. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today, and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.